Once again, welcome to Shooting It Straight with Rudy as a part of International Bigtime Wrestling's The Fix. Right here, I am being joined today by not only a personal dear friend of mine, but someone who has been instrumental in Rudy Hill's Rude Boys wrestling career. Someone who took me under his wing many, many years ago with the sweet daddy Malcolm Monroe. It gives me great pleasure to introduce to you a true wrestling legend and a International Big Time Wrestling Hall of Famer, the one and only, the Bug is in the house. Bug, how are you?
Hey, how you doing, Rudy? Glad to be here. Thank you for having me here.
My goodness, man, you've been jet setting. I seen you out in Vegas last week, and so you're just enjoying the fruits of life these days, huh?
Yeah, you know, with this COVID stuff, you know, and shutting everything down, I just had to get away to enjoy myself. And so I went to Vegas and I had a great time. Everybody was safe, wearing their masks, you know. It was just a great time in Vegas. So now I'm back and I'm ready.
You're back at International Big Time Wrestling, where you're a Hall of Famer, of course. Bug, for those that are watching and listening for the first time, tell us and tell them the history of the Bug. How did you get involved in this wacky world of professional wrestling?
So back in the 70s, I wanted to be a professional wrestler, and I begged Sweet Daddy Malcolm Monroe to teach me how to wrestle, and he just kept on pushing me away and pushing me away. And then one day, he took me on his porch, and he said, "I'm gonna show you a couple moves." And he showed me some moves on the porch, and he saw a little bit in me, so he took me on the grass. And right there on the grass was a telephone pole. And he ran my head into the pole, and I started bleeding, and the neighbors called the police, and I'm laying out on the ground, and the police came and picked me up off the ground. And when they let me go, I fell back out. And they started beating Sweet Daddy. And Sweet Daddy said, "Tell him that I'm training you to be a professional wrestler." And I looked up at the police, I said, he training me to be a professional wrestler. And the police said, well, he did a good job, because we was getting ready to beat him. And that's how I became a professional wrestler.
Oh my goodness, and on top of that, it's no secret, man, became best friends with this sweet daddy Malcolm Monroe.
Yep, best friends. And I truly miss him really dearly.
Oh, we all do. I mean, he set the careers for all of us. I mean, you know, you talk about myself, you talk about Insane Clown Posse, you talk about Rob Van Dam, Sabu. It was Malcolm Monroe who really, he used to tell me this. He used to say, "You know what, kid? I make dreams come true." And he did. And that's what I like to continue to do here. But aside from Malcolm Monroe, you owned your craft in wrestling to the point where promoters outside of the Detroit area started recognizing you.
That's true.
That brings you to Georgia Championship Wrestling. How did that come about? Tell me.
Well, I was fighting in Cincinnati one day, and this guy came up to me. I don't remember his name, but he said, "Mr. Bug?" I said, "Yes." He said, "I got great news for you." I said, "What kind of news?" He said, "Georgia Championship Wrestling wants you to come there." I said, "What?" He said, "Yeah." I said, "For real?" He said, "I got a plane ticket for you to go to Georgia. They want you." And this was back in 1984.
Yes.
Georgia Championship Wrestling.
Yes.
So when I got there, they put me in a cowboy hat and boots and stuff.
Uh-huh.
And they changed my name at that time.
Right.
They changed it to Mr. JR.
Yes.
So you could go.
So that was kind of a play off the Dallas TV series, J.R. Ewing,
That's right.
But you were the black J.R.
The black JR, yeah. They put me big cowboy hat, briefcase.
So who were you managing back then?
I managed Kareem Abdul.
Uh-huh. Wasn't you with Thunderbolt Patterson and those guys?
Okay. I didn't manage him, but I had a few with him, and Ole Anderson.
And Ole,
Yeah.
oh my goodness.
Right.
You know, you can check that out on YouTube, fans, right now. Just look up Mr. JR at Georgia Championship Wrestling.
1984.
So that all went about, and then, of course, you came back to Michigan. At this time, you started managing the Sheik, the great Sheik.
That's correct. I managed the Sheik before
Georgia Championship?
Before Georgia Championship. I managed the Sheik at Cobo Hall just before we left Cobo Hall. I think I was there maybe 3 or 4 shows before Cobo Hall
was done.
Yeah. And then we went to Lincoln Park where I managed the Sheik.
And caused a riot with Muhammad Saad and Malcolm Monroe.
Oh my goodness, you remember that?
I was a little boy in the stands. My dad was grabbing me out of the way.
I told Malcolm.
The whole place turned into a full-fledged riot.
I managed Malcolm that night to Sweet Daddy. Mm-hmm. And I told Sweet Daddy, I say, you want to be on top? He said, what can we do? I said, let's go in and jump Muhammad Saad. And when we ran in there, you saw it. The place went chaos.
Well, 90% Arab Americans were in the house, mostly his family, and the place did go bananas. And I'll tell you what, man, that was one of the first times that my father was concerned for my safety, and he used to let me run all around Cobo Hall and stuff. But he was like, man, these two guys, it's crazy. But back to those days with the Sheik, you got to know the man personally. One of the greats, and he understood the business. How did that come about? How did you become his manager?
Well, one day I was at Cobo Hall, and a guy was getting ready to hit him with a bottle, and I blocked it. And he, you know, and I told him, I said, I always wanted to be your manager. And he asked me, could I talk pretty good? And I told him, yeah. He said, be at Channel 62 next week.
Wow.
That's how I became his manager.
Wow.
Went all over the world with this man.
Yes.
Atlanta,
yes.
New York, West Virginia,
wow.
Ohio, all over the place with him.
And everywhere he went, he was so prestigious. Everyone just loved him, you know.
Oh, yeah.
Even though they hated him.
But
the promoters knew that you were getting one of the greats of all time when
That's
he
right.
came. And fast forwarding on to Malcolm Monroe starting Midwest Championship Wrestling and bringing guys like the Sheik and Bobo Brazil. This is when you started getting more ring action. In fact, I remember you wrestling Bobo Brazil Jr.
That's
at
right.
Azteca Hall.
Oh, you remember that? Yeah, you going back.
Well, I was the ring announcer, so. Tell us about that. What made you transition now? I mean, because, look, most guys that are starting wrestling, they're starting in their 20s and, you know, teens. You, later on, as a physical capacity, were a little bit up more in age, but you could go with those young cats. How did that come about? You just felt like you had to get that out of you, or you just, you were tired of managing? How?
Well, first of all, let's go back to Georgia. When Georgia hired me, they wanted a manager that could wrestle.
Yes, okay.
So I had the wrestling ability all along. And when I start managing, I just wanted to do more. So that's why I start wrestling more, and you see me wrestling more, because it's something that I wanted to do. It was still in my blood.
Absolutely.
To wrestle.
Yes.
Even at my age now, at 67, I still have that urge to wrestle.
Speaking of, you're a part of the Legends League here at International Big Time Wrestling, which we, right here at International Big Time Wrestling, we showcase the legends of wrestling and letting people know that we respect our legends that have come before us. What do you feel about that? About you getting ring action? Back now, once again, in 2020, you're back in the ring and competitively. Like, you're not in there just, you're in there really throwing down. I got to tell you, that last match you had was amazing.
Well, I tell you, being a legend is great, you know, and you have to fulfill that spot.
Yes.
And that's why today I still wrestle, because
Yes.
it's still in me. You know, it's just something that you just can't get out of me, you know. And I'm going to wrestle until they wheel me up into a wheelchair, you know, and wheel me back to my dressing room. That's what I'm going to do.
Yes, I love it. Tell us real quickly about your grandson. Tell us now he's back, he's in the ring now.
Yes, my grandson, RC3.
Yes.
The third generation of me.
RC3, I love it. Yes.
Yes. He went to the Truth training school.
Yes.
And he's one of the upcoming superstars you're going to see. And I'm just so happy that I have somebody to follow my footsteps.
I love it. Well, listen, fans, we're here with the Bug, and like we do on each and every one of Shooting It Straight with Rudy, I'm going to give you 3 names. And when I give you those 3 names, I want one-word response from you that comes to your mind when I say these names.
Okay.
Are you ready, sir?
I'm ready.
Sabu.
Great.
MM3.
The best.
Captain Ed George. Shooting It Straight with my good friend, The Bug. Thank you so much for being here. We'll be back next time with more action here on International Big Time Wrestling's The Fix.
If you've enjoyed this video from
RoX-TV.com,
make sure you follow RoX-TV on Facebook and YouTube. If it's underground, we're there.